So we finally have another dev blog series 19 by Torchlight Infinite by our boy Koei. Finally, we got another major huge update for Torchlight, as the game is already on its horizon for coming out in a few couple months now, and I can't wait for it. So right now we got a pretty massive update that they actually plan on doing. I will be having some of the gameplay stuff appearing on screen, but I want to just read you guys a couple of things from this dev blog. So first things first, we're going to start with is loots in the ARPG. It is saying the most direct reward in an ARPG is the items dropped from enemies, which is very true. Literally any action RPG game, that's the dopamine that players receive when we're playing these games. It's like, we really need items. We want to see the different rarities and finally grind up to the mythic item. And they're saying the loots comes in different sizes and shapes. The preset affixes on each item, even for the most ordinary gears, can completely different boosts. Perhaps sometimes you're granted perfectly just to farm loots. And that's another thing that I want to explain for anybody who doesn't know what Torchlight Infinite is. This game is literally loot city. You can loot as much as you want and not even care in the world. Destroy gear if you need to, upgrade if you have to, and go from there. Every piece of loot for builds, crafting, and altering in-game maps, Netherrealm map affixes are all loot based in Torchlight. Since almost all loots are randomized in, affixes can vary drastically even on the same gears you picked up from different grinds. Legendaries are guaranteed from boss fights and in-game grindings, carrying a mechanic changing affixes that are so powerful to aspire gear-centric builds. Later in the game, loots will even include a substantial increase in other crafting materials such as embers, netherrealm beacons, and fate cards. And then they also state that more controllable features for grind unlocks for our players, and that's one of the tasteful features for loots in Torchlight Infinite's in-game. Each map has random default affixes, and hunters are able to alter them with items gained from grinds, so that hunters can partially control desired drop quantity and quality. Which you also get complete freedom, which comes across without any restriction. This means that Torchlight Infinite is stamina free, loot cap free, and hidden caps free, gem free, and crest free, of course. Man, I feel like that's a shot at Diablo Immortal. All players are encouraged to pick up a map to grind anytime, anywhere at will, and without the need to worry about timed chances. So that is one thing that they're really working on towards this game. It's just, like I said, the loot. You always want to have, when you play an action RPG game or a looter RPG, the loot is probably the most important part of that aspect other than anything else in the game, because I feel like the loot is what really makes or breaks that grind. Like I said, when most people who play these type of style games, that dopamine is what kicks in and you want more and more and more, and that's what sets in the grind to get the best loot you can get to be able to make your build. So they're saying shiny loots can either sit in your vault or contribute to your journey in another way. So you can either go for player to player or player to the game tradings when you're farming for edicts and your collection expands in lightning speed, that you realize some of them can be quite useful for other build styles. Then you can sell them to other players. Another trend that they foresee is hunters starting some side businesses to accumulate a bit of wealth for the next builds in mind, which the loots hold a lot more value than merely sending them back to the trader or the NPC for flame ashes. So that actually works when you're playing with other players. If you have picked up a loot that is insane, cracked out specs, it works perfect for your friend. You could just go give it to him, or you could sell it to another player, or you could hop into the main area of the game and start selling it to random players, in which there is a trade market. So there is one of the features that Torchlight Infinite devs are the very most proud of. So this is the part where this all comes together. So a well-equipped space that is completely free from taxation, a thoroughly player-made economy. You do not need to be in level 99 to grow a successful trading career here. Picked up a gear that does not fit into any of your current builds, trade it for your desired items, which that is actually amazing. So when the open beta test starts, we are sure builds will vary in popularity with time, and another great way to market your loots to accumulate capital for your future builds. So for all my people who want to have that insane builds, that is definitely something you will want to definitely be a part of, is the trading market, and it will basically help out players instead of spending all night grinds or waiting weeks or months just to get this one gear. It will just make it easier to either trade it with something else at the market to make sure that your build works as insane as it can. So they're definitely saying this is a play to win type of feature. So let's look at the real question. Yes, no progression walls or any impact on build progression from microtransaction. That is to power up and switch between skills, talents, and builds. Ideas, all components are attained from your playtime only. And that is probably the biggest hypest thing about this game. None of the gears and skills and power-ups are sold as microtransactions, neither can they be traded in the trade house. The more you grind, the better loot you will get. Every game should be able to have this. I understand that businesses and developers need to make money, but when you shove microtransactions down players' throats, it kind of becomes a problem. Like, I don't know, Diablo Immortal. Hate to keep beating a dead horse in the mouth, but God, that microtransactions for that mobile game was insane, and it probably should never be done like that ever again. But no worries, Torchlight Infinite is staying away from putting players to battle each other, thus builds are only yours to enjoy and to prove. Not a single microtransaction will be able to change that. And once again, if you guys want to play this game, please go pre-register. It will be on the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store, or if you are part of the TapTap community, then yes, you can download it from TapTap themselves. And that's about it for today's Dev Blog 19. This definitely was much needed things to hear. I'm glad we finally got some type of clarification. Like I said, Torchlight is coming out soon, and they're just dropping major fire back to back. Now, if Torchlight Infinite is something you guys care about a lot and you want to know more information about it and stay up to date, definitely stay with this channel. Subscribe to it if you have to. Like the video, show it to your friends, because I will be still covering Torchlight Infinite up until its release day, and then after its release day, showing you guys different builds and different stuff you can do inside of it. A lot of quality of life things to do. Other than that, it's been your host KSD TV here at Chaotic Inc. signing out. Peace.
Make a manifest. I don't sleep, that's so weak, don't plan to rest. I'm from a hood where you die if you don't pack a vest. No culinary degrees, but whipping crack the best. Chefing, hard times taught lessons. Praying every night to pull up in park Benzes. What's my home is what you call trenches. You wouldn't last a day seeing life through all lenses. It's all tension, no sun, and rain and plenty. Full-time job, still can never make a penny.